Welcome to the 2022 Las Cruces Real Estate Market Recap. We're here to discuss exactly what we saw over the last 12 months and maybe even a little bit of what we might see in the future.
This is kind of the video that everyone wants to know, right? They see the monthly reports, so they kind of know what each month looks like, but they never put it all together to see how the year fared. So I think this is a popular video.
Yeah, I think whether you own a home, you rent a home, you own commercial property, whatever it might be, you certainly always want to know how the real estate market is performing. And the monthly videos are great, but recapping it all as a whole is certainly important. And certainly, when you're looking at the stock market, you look year to year and so forth. So we want to provide you some context with what's happened in the real estate market for the last 12 months, how that compares to what we've seen previously. And hopefully we can provide a lot of good information and knowledge for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So all in all, 2022 was a really strong real estate year. It certainly had some peaks and some valleys, as they all do. I think in many ways, the last year had almost two different halves. You had the first 6 months, which was still a pretty frenetic market for us.
Off of 2021, yeah.
And then the second half certainly slowed down. We saw those higher interest rates certainly slow things down, but houses were still selling, and we'll talk about it later. Certainly the values of houses certainly continued to grow.
Yeah.
So let's start with just how many homes did sell last year. It was not the record-setting year that 2021 was as far as the number of homes sold. We came up about 360 homes short, roughly, but it puts it right on par where we were with 2020. In 2020, we saw 2,410 homes sold. 2022, we saw 2,406, and that is down from the 2021 of 2,764. But it's still more homes sold than what we saw in 2019, more homes sold than what we saw in 2018. So even though the second half of the year did slow down, it certainly was a strong year as far as number of homes sold.
I don't really have anything to say, but yeah.
Thanks. Are you saying I did good?
I'm saying you did good, yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
So the total volume is very interesting, considering that we sold 360 homes less than 2021 and 2022. The volume is only actually down by 12 million, which tells you that average sales price is really what's carrying the market right now, right? So in 2022, just over 738 million, and in 2021, we did 750 million.
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting, I mentioned earlier that we had about the same number of transactions in 2022 as we had in 2020, but 2020 only had 566 million. So that number certainly jumped quite a lot.
170 million from 2020 to 2022 with pretty much the same amount of homes sold.
Yeah. So the average sales price was up over 2021 and certainly up over previous years as well. 2022 ended with a $306,894 average sales price. 2022 was roughly $30,000 more than 2021, and 2021 was a good year as well. It was up over
about
2020.
36,000.
Yeah,
over
so
2020.
we have seen since 2018, we've seen that average sales price come up from just under 200,000 to just over 300,000. That's pretty good growth in equity in homes in Las Cruces.
Yeah, overall that's great news for homeowners in Las Cruces that they have seen that much equity, especially if you bought your house prior to even 2018 or in 2018 and 2019. You're seeing pretty significant increases in your value for sure. If you haven't asked for your PMI to be removed, now might be a good time, because if we've increased 30%, is that about 30% from 200,000 to 300,000, then you probably have the 22% that you need to get that removed.
So that's a good point. If you do still have PMI on your existing mortgage, certainly give them a call, see if you can't remove that. It certainly can save you a couple $100 in some cases off of your monthly payments. So we certainly know with all the inflation we're seeing elsewhere, if you can save some money on that mortgage, by all means, definitely do it.
Yeah, if you need help with that too, sometimes they'll accept a CMA and we can do those for you, but if not, we can connect you with an appraiser too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a good idea to know the value of your home anyway.
For sure. So the next section would be the percentage of the asking price to the actual sold price. And for 2022, it was slightly under what 2021 was. I think a lot of that's probably because of how the second half of 2022 went. Because the first half of 2022, I think when we did that video, it was like 101% that sellers were getting of their asking price. But for the entire year, it's about 98.5%, which is only down 0.5% from 2021 when it was 99%. So still really great. A lot of that too, like, I don't know, summer, you could pretty much throw a price on something and it would sell. So, you know.
Yeah, and certainly historically, that number's still high. 98% of the asking price is still a really high percentage of what it sells for.
Yeah.
We want to take a look a little bit at the price per square foot as well. So when we're looking at different homes and comparing homes, and certainly a lot of you ask, what is the average price per square foot? For 2022, it was $158 a square foot, and that's up $20 from 2021. And if we go back a little bit further, 2019 saw it at $108 per square foot. So certainly that number has been increasing, as has the average sales price as well.
I always like using that one because appraisers kind of look at that number too. And I feel like as an average, we tour different people coming in for jobs and stuff. They ask us like, what's the average price per square foot? And so I think that one's kind of a nice one to know, and it gives you a good idea of maybe what your home might be worth. Now, of course, every home is different, and it's better if we can do a market analysis, but kind of gives you a ballpark of where you might be.
Sure.
The next section that we're going to talk about is the average days on market. Now this one's interesting just because it's pretty flat, like 2022 over 2021, 24 days, 2021 was 25 days. We know back in 2020 when everything changed, that one, it was taking a little bit longer to sell homes because people weren't really sure, what was going on with the market and stuff, but 50 days, so we're still half of what we were, even going all the way back to 2018 when it was like 65 days. So it's not taking too long, even now that we're in January.
And it's kind of interesting that it would actually be down by 1 day, being that we saw the interest rates rise. The market certainly felt like it slowed down. It wasn't quite as frenzied. But what we're still seeing is that houses that are priced right and are nice and well marketed are certainly still selling.
Yeah, for sure.
So this might be my favorite part of our market report, and it's when we talk about the luxury homes. I can't be the only one that has a wife that wants to be in that luxury type. Yeah, no? Okay, maybe not. But for 2022, we saw 476 luxury homes sell, which is a pretty big increase. In 2021, we had 350 luxury homes sold. And if we go back a little bit further, 2018 only saw 115 luxury homes. So that number has drastically increased over the last handful of years. And 476 homes in that luxury price point is pretty substantial.
Yeah, over 400,000 is kind of where we put that. So as the average sales prices come up, I think that, more of those homes are selling because...
Well, and when we started doing these and we declared...
We couldn't break 100.
Yeah, well, basically when we said 400,000 is luxury, there was only 115 homes sold that were in that luxury price point. And now to see it 4 times that number,
it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. The number of new listings that came on the market for 2022 was just over 2,800. Now that's also down from 2021. 2021 was just under 3,000, and even 2020, 2,700 to today's 2,800. That's not a huge difference. But to see that number down doesn't surprise me, especially since we're about 360 homes lower that have sold. Less homes coming on the market, less homes that sell. Kind of makes sense. So
So let's talk a little bit about the most expensive homes that sold in 2022. It sold for $1.76 million and is off a Hare Road in the North Valley.
Now, what's important to know about that is the most expensive home in 2021 actually sold for $2.2 million. So this one is $500,000 less than that. And then I think the second most expensive home for 2021 was like $1.73 million. So right in the same ballpark area.
Yeah.
So we really didn't see that number really increase or change all that
Sure.
much.
And certainly when you get to this type of price point, you can expect that it is a nice house, of course, large square footage, but also that it comes with a pretty substantial amount of land. It may have outbuildings and pools and barns and, all of those things when you get up to this type of price point.
Agricultural stuff that produces income maybe as well.
Yeah, sometimes pecan trees or some alfalfa fields or something that certainly can push the value of a property up as well.
Yeah. Now wrap it up, sir.
Okay. So just to kind of recap, 2022 was a very strong year for Las Cruces real estate. We saw many new families move to the area. We saw first-time home buyers move into their first home. We saw people that had raised their families and moved down into smaller homes. Regardless of what's happening in the world and the economy and inflation, there's always people moving and selling and buying. And certainly as the market was tested a little bit over the last 6 months with the higher interest rates, we still saw people buying, we still saw people selling. Certainly the news always wants the doom and gloom, but there's a lot of positive things that have happened in the last year. And the market's going to continue to be resilient. What we really saw in 2022 was really just a little bit of a correction. The market corrected back to being more so like what we saw in 2020. The 2021 year was the exceptional year, the record-setting year in a lot of ways. 2022 was just a little bit less than that, a little bit of a correction in the market. Certainly, I think a lot of us saw a correction coming. I think I've been saying there'd be a correction for a couple of years. Certainly, we thought interest rates would go up at some point, and they did.
The second half of 22.
Yeah, they really have climbed to what they were at the low. So certainly the market corrected a little bit, probably long-term makes it a little bit more stronger. I don't know that the growth of number of homes and average sales price was sustainable long-term. So certainly, take the equity that you gained and be happy about it. But certainly I don't think that we are going to see those highs continue to go. I think we kind of corrected a little bit, and we'll probably see pretty modest growth, if any growth, over the next couple years.
So for those of you that are still watching this video,
is there anybody actually still here?
Dude, your mom's watching this whole thing, right?
No, my mom's not. Maybe your mom is,
Okay,
but
Connie's watching this whole thing.
Okay, she probably is.
Okay, thank you, Connie, and maybe the 3 other people that watch this to the end of this video.
I think we have more than 3.
I know, I'm just kidding. But anyway, thank you for hanging in on this video. I know it's super long, and but we just hope that it's informative and kind of helps you, understand what the market looked like in 2022 and how the market's going to probably continue through 2023. Thank you so much. See you next time.